The Human Atlas is a social impact art platform, and the purpose of it is to map community through oral history, portraits and ancestral DNA to inspire a next generation of social change. So the original Human Atlas concept came out of a father and an artist's desire to explore the country of his growing family. I'm married to a Brazilian, I have 2 Brazilian children, and it was our attempt to go to Brazil and understand that country and build a deeper truth about how my children and my family could grow into our cultural identity. We've been creating human atlases for more than a decade now. We've conducted interviews across the globe of 500 different change makers. But at the heart of each of the processes is this desire to take a skewed narrative and find a deeper truth at the heart of a place or an area or a country that is born out of the voices of those who are seeking to build a more hopeful future. So one of the underlying principles of our work is that we don't know about the places we are commissioned to research and tell stories about, that we can only really find the truth by digging deep into the voice of a place. So through nomination and through finding these extraordinary change makers who are often unsung heroes, we get to tell a truth about a place that is unique and beautiful and deep. The Human Atlas methodology is based on the assumption that we are not the experts, that we're deep listeners who can be a portal into which other people's stories are told. So coming to Silicon Valley and listening to these extraordinary stories, sometimes of trauma, sometimes of elation, gave us an opportunity to see that if we listen, collaborate and connect, we can build a more hopeful and powerful future together. And perhaps most importantly about the time and the place that we built this work was the reality is that many of the people who we got to meet and interview, their first face-to-face interaction with other human beings since the shelter-in-place orders had been lifted, we were getting to meet 101 extraordinary people. So it led to an incredibly emotional, resonant process where we got to witness this group of people for the first time in 2-3 years. The most unique factor about the Silicon Valley work is that Silicon Valley is a concept, it's not a place, and all the atlases to date have been geographically bound. With the De.Coded project, we had this opportunity to tell a story that was literally defined by the people who were in the project. We were creating a new map about a place that has such a powerful narrative of the tech industry, of the gadgets and the driverless cars. Yet we were coming to a place that has this extraordinary mosaic of people. So this was an opportunity to tell a story that was much more nuanced, that was much more interesting, to witness the truth of a place through the voices of the people who live there. As outsiders, it would just be totally impossible for us to find the extraordinary individuals who feature in the work through anything other than a nomination process that listens to the voice of the communities that we're representing. And we built this incredible nomination process where we went in search of the true voices of the valley. This gave us an opportunity to witness this mosaic through migration and through relationships and love. We met this extraordinary group of people who really define what the modern Silicon Valley really is.
I love this story of things that can happen. I've just discovered I came from people like that. 7 generations back, where my white Scottish indentured servant grandmother formed a forbidden love with my black enslaved grandfather. They had to have some optimism to try to procreate in the mid-1700s. what kind of crazy people are these? They're exactly my kind of crazy people. So that's my mantra. We can, we must, we will.
The process of deep listening to these extraordinary people allowed us to understand through the historical perspective of the native peoples of the area, through a deeper understanding of Chicano culture, through hearing the stories of migration, many really powerful refugee stories. We began to understand that what underpins the valley is this extraordinary ability for humans to reinvent themselves and to build community, because it is the heartbeat of what it means to be a human. And I think that was perhaps the most beautiful element of what came out of our time in Silicon Valley. Post-pandemic, arriving in this new place, nervous that we weren't going to be able to tell the story correctly, that the big story was going to elude us, and yet then leaning into this incredible listening experience and finding these beautiful, deep, interconnected personal narratives of redemption, of service, and of love and kindness to your fellow man. What's the background? For me, as an artist and a father and as a husband, it's my family that sits at the heart of this amazing world I'm trying to explain. So when I come home after 2.5 months on the road, it's my children who I really want to give them the insights of these beautiful, beautiful people who we've witnessed and we've experienced. And actually it makes the whole process of being away from home so long completely purposeful. But to be able to return home and to be able to share these deeper stories of these extraordinary people makes the whole thing worthwhile. Photography has been the red carpet to everything I've ever wanted to do, and taking portraits are really the most joyous experience for me. They're deeply intimate, they're extremely collaborative, and they allow me to find a voice that I never thought I'd have. This opportunity to offer a version of ourselves in a truly authentic way is such a huge joy. But really it's the portrait for me that sits at the heart. It's the key, it's the hook, it's the ignition of the whole process of building atlases. Sound is such a key part of the human atlases. Allowing the image-activated app to scan the portrait and then activate the oral history is absolutely key in allowing the voice of the portrait to speak to the audience.
I'm a journalist, which means I ask lots of questions. How we talk and discuss migration and migrants in this era of unprecedented movement of people is the work of my life.
The DNA allows us to go deeper into our ancestral journeys, to search out the truth of our migrations and our journeys across the globe. Building intimacy is a huge challenge, and design allows our work to really sing. We do this through books, through podcasts, and through projections and exhibitions. But without the design element, none of these things come to life. And that's where we're in huge gratitude to Jim Sutherland and his team at Studio Sutherland. They allow our work to find new ways of communicating. There are so many extraordinary people who step up for us on the Human Atlas journey. Here in Silicon Valley, it's Kathy Kimball, the David and Lucille Packard Foundation, and the team there, Irene, Tamara, who have helped us make this a reality. But perhaps as important is the fact that there are multiple other people who support, fund, partner with us to make these possible. At the back of the book, you will see a credit list of 250 plus people, all who have had a material effect on the quality and the depth of the project. I so often say that I arrive in these places, we arrive in these places, and we know so little. We've got these huge stories to tell, and we arrive in many ways as others, but I always like to think that we leave as brothers and sisters, and that's such a powerful and humbling experience to be able to arrive somewhere and then be held and uplifted by this extraordinary deep narrative that comes through deep listening. There are so many potential impacts from Human Atlas work. There are the exhibitions, there are our podcasts, there are the fact that people have taken our methodology and work and turned this into university courses. There are the abilities for educational outreach through the work. And what we really hope, what's at the heart of the mission of the work, is to inspire a new generation of change agents, to take these stories and to see service as a place to focus your life's journey, to be able to be inspired by these remarkable people and their resilience and passion for their fellow human.
We invite you to pause for just a moment to focus. Allow your vision to settle and notice, revealing the details, subtleties of the subtext, nuances of the complex configuration encoded in each and every one of us from the outset. When we journey internally, we can do more than read between the lines and between the hues. We discover a new literature that awaits us, uncovering the essence of what creates us, a series of lessons that can take us to levels of understanding and comprehension of what makes us, us. We are not binary AI algorithms, silicon microchips, semiconductors spinning off the silicate. We are the primary descendants of generations of ancestral linchpins, ancestors with thick skin, proud creators of traditions that have shifted societies and civilizations throughout the millennium. The user interface is interlaced with wisdom from the world's most advanced operating system, because our motherboard is rooted in the source code of motherland. When you look beyond skin and bone into the soul, you'll understand that the thesis of who we are and all we will be is written in this molecular sequence, 46 chromosomes of the human genome double helix.